All right, fam. Now for our feature story of the day. The Bitcoin Policy Institute released a framework for the United States to buy $200 billion worth of Bitcoin by issuing $2 trillion worth of BitBonds. That's right. Let's break it down. I'll read it for you and straight from the horse's mouth, and then we'll dive into the story, which was featured on the Binance website. So as you can see here, the BitBonds framework, Bitcoin enhanced treasury bonds operate similarly to conventional treasury securities, but with an embedded Bitcoin component that transforms their risk-return profile. The U.S. Treasury would issue Bitcoin bonds with a stated face amount. For an example, maybe 100 million, billions, whatever, and maturity, for instance, 10 years. And unlike traditional bonds, where all the proceeds go to general funding, a fixed portion of each BitBond, which would be 10%, would be used immediately to purchase Bitcoin for the Treasury Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. The remaining majority of the proceeds, 90%, still finances the government operations in the typical usual way. As you can see here on your screen, building the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. The total to Bitcoin would be 200 billion, which is 10% of the 2 trillion, and they'd be able to purchase up to 2.22 million BTC, hypothetically at a price of roughly 90,000 per Bitcoin, which is roughly 5,000 above the current spot price. And under the structure, if 2 trillion worth of the Bitcoin bonds were issued, roughly 20% of the 2025 refinancing needs, that would mean $200 billion would be invested into Bitcoin, securing approximately 2.2 million BTC at roughly 90,000 per coin for the National Reserve. This allocation balances strategic Bitcoin exposure with conventional treasury functionality. Bitcoin for the treasury, Bitcoin for my enemies, Bitcoin for the Kennedys, Bitcoin over Hennessy. And another headline here from Binance, USA's bold move, $200 billion Bitcoin purchase through the BitBonds. Some of the highlights again, the Bitcoin Policy Institute recommends a 200 billion Bitcoin acquisition. BitBonds would serve as a strategic financial instrument. The proposal could boost the U.S.'s digital asset holdings. And let's not forget, Saylor also recently proposed to Trump during the Crypto White House Summit, the very first of its kind, for the Trump administration to purchase up to 5% of the circulating Bitcoin, which is 25% of the circulating Bitcoin supply, which would be over 5 million Bitcoin. And they'd be able to do that just by trading their gold reserves for Bitcoin. So there's a lot of different ways to do this budget neutral strategy of acquiring the Bitcoin. And Bitcoin bonds is another example. The game-changing Bitcoin investment proposal, the Bitcoin Policy Institute, BPI, unveiled the groundbreaking framework advocating for the U.S. to purchase 200 billion of the BITI, suggesting acquisition facilitated through the BitBonds, an innovative financial instrument designed to merge traditional bond markets along with digital assets such as the Bitcoin. And understanding the BitBonds and their role, BitBonds operate as government-issued bonds backed by the Bitcoin reserves. This mechanism allows the U.S. to leverage the strength of its financial system while gaining exposure to Bitcoin. The move would diversify the nation's reserves, hedge against the inflation, and align with the growing trend of Bitcoin adoption globally. To transcribe that into layman's terms, winning, winning, winning. BPI's proposal also highlights the importance of maintaining a competitive edge in the blockchain space. By incorporating Bitcoin into its financial strategy, the U.S. could enhance its position as a leader in digital asset regulation and innovation. And this was the big news. As I mentioned, I already read you the headline here on X. So the 200 billion Bitcoin acquisition would significantly impact the crypto market, drive an increased institutional interest, and additionally, establishing the BitBonds would create new financial opportunities, fostering public and private sector collaborations within the blockchain industry. And while the proposal will undoubtedly face regulatory scrutiny, it opens the door for further discussions on integrating Bitcoin into the national economic strategies. Policymakers will likely weigh the potential risk and rewards before making any massive decisions. The post-USA's bold move, 200 billion Bitcoin purchase through the BitBonds appeared first on Koino Media. That's where the news was broken yesterday. So you guys let me know your thoughts. Do you think the United States and Trump would follow a proposal like this to adopt Bitcoin through the use of these BitBonds? Do you think they'll end up adopting Bitcoin by trading their fool's gold? And I say that because gold is the poor man's Bitcoin. For the apex predator, the hardest asset to ever exist. There's so much bullishness in the markets right now, I can't contain myself. But you guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll read them out loud. Welcome, everyone, to the Q&A segment of the live stream. Yabba dabba doobie.